The Beef Quality Assurance Program extends to all parts of the industry, including feed yards. We visited with two industry experts, Ron Gill and Ted McCollum, to gain some insight on good practices and ways that cattle feeding operations can improve their management and safety.
Feed yard BQA is a process by where we really document what we do, monitor what we do, adjust what we find wrong in the process, but everything's done to improve the safety and the quality of the meat that's produced out of the feed yard. Trying to make sure there's no blemishes, residues. It's just a system of checks and balances more than anything else to make sure that everything from the livestock handling, the facilities, all the medicine that might be used, antibiotics and vaccines are used properly. Any withdrawal times are adhered to, just to make sure that everything that we produce as beef is safe and wholesome.
Number one, it's important because we need to demonstrate through actions, and let's put it this way, observable actions, that we are following through on protocols and best management practices that have the interest of the consumer in mind with food safety and food quality. And then also of recent focus has become that we, in the process of producing beef for food, that we're humanely managing and handling those animals that will ultimately be a food product. And so when I say observable actions, you know, historically we have done things and everybody has done due diligence to do it right. But anymore it requires what I call observable actions, which is documentation. Requirements for certification. First of all, the feed yard employees must go through training on the Texas Cattle Feeders Association program, so all employees must be trained in basic principles of the TCFA program. Then there are best management practices that are implemented by the feed yard, and the feed yard then has to demonstrate that they are following through on those best management practices, and that is through proper record keeping, proper monitoring procedures, verification procedures on the feed yard. There's different aspects, in my opinion, to the cattle handling part of it, and part of it's your stockmanship of low stress handling. And of course, low stress handling is not only important for the safety of the people working with the animals, but the safety and humane management of the animals themselves to reduce stress levels on them. And of course, if we can reduce stress, we improve the health of those animals. We improve the beef products that are produced by those animals, and we improve the production efficiency of those animals if we use low stress handling methods.
But the low stress handling allows us to get the most production out of those cattle at the same time as keeping them as healthy as they possibly can be. We want to cut down the incidence of any blemishes that might come from bruising or whatever, and I think that's a really key part of the low stress handling, particularly through the processing and the transportation and shipping of these cattle once they leave the yard. If we don't teach them to handle right and we don't know how to handle cattle right, we will create some blemishes in them. And so that's why that has become a bigger and bigger component of beef quality assurance, because the actual stockmanship and low stress handling impacts all the other factors from the time they arrive at the feed yard until they are in the harvest facility. To me, the feed yard BQA is really critical from the standpoint the cattle that leave here are going into consumption. So anything that's in them when they leave a feed yard will be in them when they are harvested. The same thing can be said at the cow-calf level relative to market cows and bulls, so that's the same kind of scenario. But this end product, there isn't any time to fix anything once they leave a feed yard, so everything has to be done right from the time they get here until they leave and are harvested.
I think we all need to be aware that we're under tremendous scrutiny, and some of that scrutiny we know about. Some of that scrutiny is in the form of undercover people that infiltrate into some of our operations and are looking for things to sensationalize and drive their agendas. So I think it's important that we all keep that in mind on our operations, that we're under scrutiny all the time.
To learn more about the Checkoff-funded BQA Feed Yard Assessment Program and to find out how your feed yard can participate, visit the website bqa.org.